Oh, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Badass Engineers. And it's our first time live on LinkedIn. Today, I have
Woo!
got Professor Claire Lucas.
Hi
Woo!
everyone.
And Fatima Benkhaled. Woo! Hello, friends. How y'all doing?
We are super good, thank you. It's sunny. It's a lovely day. That makes me feel very happy compared to the snow earlier in the week.
Oh my God. I was so surprised that there was snow. I was so surprised it was like super sunny not that long before.
Yeah, we
Well,
took the kids for a treasure hunt and the clues washed away.
that's so ridiculous. Well, it's also Ramadan today, so Ramadan Kareem to everybody. And thank you to Iris Grassroots Education, Parent Tech, Empowering Youth for sponsoring this series. And I'm going to start with just asking Professor Claire and Fatima Benkhaled to introduce themselves. Professor Claire, would you like to start?
Sure. So I'm Claire Lucas, and last year I was the IET Young Women of the Young Women Engineer of the Year WES Award winner, which is the prize I have super happily handed over to Shriek. And I have recently started a new job. I'm at King's College London, and I'm a professor of engineering education there. So that means that my whole responsibility and job is about what is engineering, how do we teach it, how do we transform the minds of students and equip them with what they need to do to succeed in life. So I love it. I'm really lucky.
That is so incredible. I'm so glad to be following your footsteps with the WES Award as well. But you are doing some amazing work, which I'm really excited to chat about today. But I'd also love for Fatima Benkhaled to introduce herself.
I'm not as exciting as Professor Lucas, unfortunately. I'm actually a student of Professor Lucas. So I'm a final year student for electronic engineering with management at King's College London. I am also I'm a bursary holder from Amazon Women in Tech. As mentioned, I am a student of Professor Lucas's, and I'm currently working on my final dissertation with her. So I'm quite excited about that.
Oh, I honestly, after you finish this station, it's the best feeling in the world. The best feeling. I'm so excited about you finishing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome.
Finally.
So we have got loads of questions in this bag that we're going to go at random. But I also want to tell everybody who's watching us now, if you missed your chance sending us your question in advance, you can send it in the comments and we'll read them together. But are y'all ready to answer some of the questions in this bag?
We are, yes.
Awesome! I've got 20 minutes. Let's try to see how many we can answer. Okay, this one is the one first. Okay, so this one is for both of you, and it says, what made you interested in femtech? Who would like to go first? Fatima, you go first.
Yeah.
So I think so just a quick overview. My final dissertation, my final project is actually it's a focus on the technological and economic evaluation of breast pumps in the case of working mothers. So it's heavily focused on femtech.
Amazing.
Well, I'm gonna have to like question you all about LV later on at some point, Shrook.
That's all right. We're here for it.
So I think like one of the main reasons why I was quite curious about this specific topic is because I interned a couple of years back at an investment bank, and when I was having a chat with one of the MDs, she was a woman, and she was so lovely, and we sort of got around to having a chat about work-life balance, and she had a chat with me and told me while she was so she had her child while she was obviously working, went on maternity leave, came back, and she told me that she found it quite difficult to be in a front office role while also breastfeeding. So she actually had to take a step back and move into a technology role, which wasn't really her passion or anything like that, but she thought it was right for her family. And I was quite curious as to why that was the case. And she told me that there was an incident where she was sort of at that period, she was breastfeeding a child, and she was sort of like she would leak a little bit. And so, like there was like that inside joke on the trading floor, and she wasn't quite keen about that. And she found it quite, even though the company she worked for was an amazing company and there was a lot of respect there, but she just found it wasn't, she just didn't feel very comfortable. So I remember like it was on my mind, and when I sort of approached Professor Lucas, I sort of brought up the idea of breast pumps. Actually, Professor Lucas brought up the idea of breast pumps, and I sort of just jumped on it. I was like, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Let's go for that.
Ooh, happy days.
Yeah. So I was very curious about, working mothers, how working mothers are able to sort of, find a balance between you know, being a mother, being there for your child, you know, pumping, expressing milk, but at the same time, you know, being, you know, a working mother essentially. And especially if you don't have that sort of, if you're not able to find that balance, if you're not able to hire a nanny because, you know, you're not earning a certain amount or whatever. So, so I thought, you know, for me, it would be, you know, it'd be really, really interesting to sort of delve into it, see, you know, really well and truly is like, our breast pumps, you know, a feminist technology? Do they allow women the mobility and freedom to sort of, you know, go about their daily lives and not sort of have to compromise on certain things? So that was an interest of mine. And that's when I delved into the world of femtech, to be fair.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I'm so glad that you took that experience and transferred it into your dissertation, your work, basically. That's so exciting. I can't wait to see what comes out of that dissertation too. How about you, Professor Claire? What got you interested in femtech?
Well, I'm going to embarrass you and say that you inspired me quite a lot, actually, because I remember I did biomedical engineering as a PhD, and then I worked in automotive before I came back to academia. And I love cars. I love talking about vehicle dynamics. I love teaching vehicle dynamics, but I noticed that like not a lot of girls do. And as part of my whole journey about, you know, what is engineering and how can we make engineering for everybody, not just for the people it's previously been for, I started exploring things like, you know, the gender data gap. So the fact that healthcare is often not designed for women. And at my previous institution I ran, I offered a third year project called Engineer Your Period. And honestly, it got so many applications. I think almost every girl or female student applied for this project.
So the name of it was Engineering Your Period. Engineering
Your Period. And it made quite a lot of the male academics a bit uncomfortable, of course. And I didn't really have an idea in mind about what those students would do, but I just thought, you know, we could have a look at, you know, the technology that's out there. And then I left my previous institution, moved to King's and thought, well, I'll just do the same thing again. And again, I got applications and conversations with students who I think, you know, Fatima came and talked to me about different makeup devices. I think you tried to explain to me what a microblader was, and I was terrified of the idea that you're like scraping your face.
What is a microblader?
No, it was a microderma roller.
Oh yeah, not a microblader. And I think this is the issue, right? We are selling this somewhat terrifying technology to women, and it's not really regulated in the same way that, you know, medical technology would be. It's just the whole like femtech industry. I think there's loads of issues there, but there's loads of things that we can talk about. So my students this year are doing everything in this project from, we're looking at period poverty in refugee camps. So I've got a student looking at disposable and reusable period technology for refugee camps. I've got a student, I've got a student looking at fertility tracking technology, but not to, you know, a lot of it is about helping you get pregnant. And she's like, no, I want to not be pregnant because, you know, I'm 19. So how do you use that in terms of like tracking your fertility so you can not get pregnant and you don't have to take a pill? And, you know, I am a bit of a feminist, so it helps, but I just think there's a whole world out there. And what I'm hoping to do is explore how this works for outreach. So I've got another student who's looking at femtech for outreach. So if we ran a summer school, got female students in, took apart some breast pumps, looked at the mechanical and electronic and software components of that, looked at some Garmin, looked at some kind of connected technology, would it inspire them to want to be engineers? Because they can make engineering whatever they want, right? It doesn't have to just be trains, cars and planes, which is what I always say to students.
Do you get this kind of not attitude, but like vision from people when you tell them that this is the sort of engineering that you do? Do you then get people see that or question if that's engineering or have a different idea of what engineering is?
Yeah, and I think that's the amazing about engineering, right? So for a long time, engineering teaching has been informed by whatever you learn. So you do an engineering degree, you become an academic, you teach what you learnt, and there's not much transformation in that. The last 5 to 10 years, there's been huge amounts of transformation in terms of engineering education, especially in the UK. And I think, you know, we've got the freedom now to really think like what do we want engineering to be? And you know, the beauty of my job is that I don't really do technical research anymore. What I do is listen to people's stories and then figure out a way of turning that into curriculum. So it's a really privileged job that I have. So
Wow.
anytime I meet an inspiring person, I'm basically like, can I capture what it is that you love, and can I use that to inspire somebody else?
What a dream job. That is beautiful. I love that. That, guys, you are really blowing everything out of the water here. I'm just like, I want to explore more. Let's take some more questions from the back. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. One question in 10 minutes.
I know. Like, we've only got 20 minutes, but there's so much
Sorry.
to talk about. No, don't be sorry. So this question is from Sam Edwards, and it is saying, I was wondering if you have any advice on how I can improve my communication skills to encourage more young women to join the industry, and how I can improve myself to create a better working environment in engineering for women. I love that question. I love when we get such beautiful comments and leadership from male allies. What kind of advice would you guys give this person, Sam Edwards?
Yeah, so if I start first, something I've looked at this a lot in terms of even attracting, when a student looks at a prospectus, what do they read, and what does that tell them about what the culture is and what engineering looks like to them. And I think it's the same thing when you stand in front of young people and talk about engineering, as far as they know, that's what you are an engineer. And it's not even just what you do in your job, but they want to know the whole thing. They want to know, what is your life like what does your day look like, who do you get to meet, what do you get to do. So I think, don't don't think about your deliverables, think about your whole self as an engineer, because that's what happens when we become engineers. Our whole being becomes engineers, right? So it's not just a job to us. I think it is a kind of a whole thing, and it's a whole vocation and a way of thinking. And I think I've found that you can really capture that. So I said a couple of years ago that I felt like I was getting too old to do outreach, and I've recently been rejuvenated through this new kind of femtech idea. So maybe the other bit of advice that I would give is, if you feel yourself getting stale, then maybe it's time for a change in your career as well, which is what I did. And then now I'm re-inspired and want to go and tell everybody about it.
That's such a brilliant advice. There's definitely been a lot of places where I worked, and sort of, at the start I learned a lot, and then there comes a point where you've learned all you can from that place, and it's not that you and the place don't get on anymore. It's just it's time for a new challenge if you want a new challenge. Yeah, that's brilliant advice. How about you, Fatima? Do you have any advice to Sam about this?
Yeah, can I just in terms of like the part about how he can better communicate, I think maybe I'll just touch upon like my personal experience of when I was at school. I had someone come in from Google, and I think what was the movie again? Which the Google internship. I can't remember what it was. Oh my god, it was about the Google internship. I can't remember. Okay. It was like a movie that came out. It was so
I don't know it. I don't think I watched it. When did it come out? Is it new?
Oh, I can't remember. I'm actually gonna search it up. Well, first thing probably takes the next question, and I'm gonna come back to you. But I remember watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god! If Google looks like this is amazing, right?" And then we had someone come in. A friend of my teachers came in, and she was a female software engineer. She came in to give us a chat about engineering and what she does. And as Professor Lucas says, you sort of have this image of like heavy machinery and whatnot, but when she was telling us about like what she does, I was literally blown away. Like she's talking about how she designs apps and stuff. I was like, oh my god, I want to do that. So sometimes it's like when you are when like, I'm not saying like the image of engineering is like male dominated, but when you sort of have female engineers out there who are like, I actually do some really cool things. I'm not another, no shade to midwife saying, but I'm not another nurse or midwife. I'm actually an engineer. I'm actually out there designing, creating. It's just so fun, like to actually see what they're doing. So maybe having like, I don't know, role models that we can look up to is lovely. That was something which obviously worked for me. And I think what Professor Lucas pretty much said, outreach programs, mentors, they've been really helpful for me. They've sort of like, please bear in mind that, both my parents sort of never went to university. So it was really lovely, to sort of just have someone out there who's like, oh, actually, you know what? I came from a similar background to you. I'm at Google right now. I'm creating, I'm designing. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to become. So yeah, and here I am.
This really brings back a really vivid memory for me, because I remember seeing one of the engineers who worked on the Google Glass when the Google Glass was like a big thing, right? And it was a woman, and just that the fact that it was a woman made me think, oh, maybe I can do it. Maybe one day I can say, hey, I worked on, you know, this thing that we all know, that we all use. So yeah, I totally relate to that. And you can see a comment from Laura Gidding saying that the name of the film is The Internship. Is that right?
I literally just searched it up right now and I was like, oh my god, I'm such a dimwit. It's The Internship. There you go.
You are
and it's
not
got
a dimwit.
Owen Wilson, who I love.
I have never heard of this film.
Such a good movie. Oh my god, because you have to watch it. It's so fun. I loved it so much. The thing about it was just like two non-traditional applicants who then sort of, you know, I don't want to ruin it, but they go on a journey to get this Google internship. So, you know.
Well, is it like a good internship, or is it an internship from hell?
Amazing. It's amazing. Well, the thing is, it was the process of getting the internship. So essentially like an assessment center, but then like they were up against, you know, like college students and whatnot. And yeah, in the end, I'm not going to spoil it because I want you to watch it for Festivus, but in the end, it was really nice. Yeah.
I do feel so sorry for students these days. I sound really old now. The pressure on them to get these amazing internships and to have these amazing experiences. When, you know, I was also like, I had to work in the summer holidays and earn some money. I didn't really have the privilege or the luxury of going and doing these fantastic internships, but I speak to students all the time and they're stressed already in year one about getting the right internships.
I remember actually, so my very first summer internship was with the university, and it was a brilliant internship. I worked with surgeons operating on the eye, and I created a system that helps with eye surgery, which was great. Just that, you know, I only had 1 year of university under me. It was amazing that I was able to do something like that. But the pay for that was a very small grant. And I worked out, had I gotten sort of a waitressing job for that summer, I would have been able to pay the bills a lot easier. And there's a lot of options. And, you know, maybe if I came from a richer family, it would have been a much easier decision for me. And I'm glad I did it. It was the right thing to do because it opened a lot of doors for me. But it was definitely not an easy decision to take. Yeah. Let's take another question from the back, shall we? Right, let's do it. Ooh. Okay, this one is to Professor Claire Lucas, and it says, you have also designed an engineering course for refugees and displaced people, which is super exciting. You can tell us a bit about that. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, so it's one of these opportunities, you know, I was so busy and I've got so much of my normal day job to do, but somebody sent me this email and said, look, we've got the funding, we've got a team together, we need two professors to kind of develop this course, and it's going to be run by our partners in Lebanon for not only the kind of Syrian refugees but also the local community as well, and it's to give people access to higher education. You know, they're interested in engineering going forwards, they're doing English courses, they might be future King's students. It's one of those things that you just can't turn down that opportunity.
Wow.
And yeah, so I learned so much from doing it as well, because a lot of my examples, even though I feel like I'm quite inclusive with the examples that I use, I had to change a lot of my examples because, you know, they might be triggering or there might just not be appropriate kind of competency examples in the context. So I did that, and also the language that I use, I had to be really, really careful. Everything was translated into Arabic.
I saw some of the translations.
Yeah,
they were
I sent them to you because I have no idea what they say. So I had to kind of describe what I do. I had to develop all these lessons, considering things like data allowances for students. And I think it's already got loads of students on it. They're running it in order to kind of fund it. They're also opening it up to the world, so anybody can go on FutureLearn and do this course. It's called Principles of Engineering. Anybody can go and do it. You can go, and I will like your comments on the posts where I get you to design things. And I've got really simple things in there, like let's design a pizza but try and satisfy everybody. And that tells students, you know, that a lot of engineering, there is no perfect answer. You're so used to finding the perfect answer, but often there isn't one. And what do? Do you go for the allergy? Do you go for the religious dietary requirements? Do you go for the preference? How on earth, you can't develop one thing to please everybody. You have to kind of work out where your priorities are. And what I'm trying to say in this course is, maybe for a change, our priority should be the people that have currently been marginalized. So it fits really well. But the team honestly have been amazing. I've had an animator who's made videos and animations to say the content. So we've done a lot of online teaching this year for our home students as well, but this is a different thing, teaching online, handing over your content to somebody else to deliver locally whilst also delivering it on a MOOC. But no, I'm really excited about it.
That is so exciting, just like completely changing the world for engineering, really. So I know we have run out of time, but I kind of want to do one more question. How do we feel about that? Yay, I'm glad. All right, let's do the final question. Hopefully it's a good one. Ooh. Okay, what does this one say? This one is to Professor Claire Lucas, but it's about something you already spoke about, so I'll choose a different one if that's all right. Okay. Okay. Okay, this one is to Fatima, and it says, how can we support Arab and Muslim engineers at work?
Oh, it's such a lovely question. I'll answer that, yeah.
Yay!
So actually, Sharuk, so I think like with especially like the Arab community, being an Arab myself, there is, funnily enough, we're actually encouraged to go into like science, engineering. You'll find a lot of Muslim women who are doctors, engineers. In fact, I had a look at some statistics. I've actually got them down next to me, so I might as well just tell you them. So 48.5% of engineering graduates are women in Algeria, 42.2% in Morocco. That's amazing. Yeah, 43.9% in Syria, 44.2% in Tunisia, which is where I'm from. So I'm super excited. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty high in Iran, Egypt.
In Egypt, it's 42%. So we've got a lot of lessons to learn from our countries.
So I think there's like a huge push in terms of like female engineers. But so I'm not so sure if there is really more that you can do for Muslim women. I think if we take away the sort of like like the Arab and Muslim, and just make it sort of a female issue, where it's like, how can we get more female engineers into engineering? And again, I think Professor Lucas does such an, I can say this firsthand because I am her student. She does such an incredible job. No, Professor Lucas, I've got to put you on the spot here. Really, she does such an incredible job. And you know what's so amazing about Professor Lucas is she juggles everything. She's a mother, and I'll be like, oh, Professor Lucas, do you have a couple of minutes? She's like, yeah, Fatima, I'll drop you in over here. Oh, I've got a meeting over here. I'm running late. So it's just so nice to have someone like her who's really very passionate about bringing more women in. Whether it's refugees, whether it's Muslim women, whether it's just anyone, or anyone who has an interest. And I think having someone like her who just advocates and is just so sort of selfless in sort of her mission, it's amazing. So yes, it'll be amazing to get more women in. I don't think that I would really sort of brand it as a Muslim issue or an Arab issue, just because we do so well as Arab countries and as Muslim women. So I would just say it's sort of more of like a female sort of thing, or like more of like a woman sort of, into engineering. And I think having people like Professor Lucas, people like you, Sharuk, who, are out there winning awards, it's people like you who genuinely, make someone like me as a Muslim woman, as a hijab wearing woman, like really excited and out there going, you know what, I want to create, I want to design. And I want to sort of like go back to my community and be like, hey ho, look what I've sort of created, what am I doing? Like based off of like this whole sort of like my dissertation on breast pumps, you never know, I might have to create something. So I don't know.
I'm excited to see. But you inspire me too, Fatima. You both inspire me so much, and I'm so glad to have you both in my life, and like to see your work evolving from badass to more badass to more badass. And I'm like, it's just like that exponential badass growth. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for giving up your time for me today.
Thank you,
it's so good. Thank you for inviting me. I have watched these and thought, I really want to just talk to Sharuk about what she loves as well. So
thank you, Sharuk. Yeah, honestly, it's so amazing to be on here, and like her energy, firstly, because I'm sure you'd agree with me, her energy is just so contagious. Like I can't stop smiling. Like my camera isn't working, but I can't stop smiling. Like I'm literally in love with you at this moment.
Oh, that's so lovely. I love it so much. Okay, this is a badass group, and we're gonna do things together, all right?
For sure.
Lovely, lots and lots and lots, and thank you again, RS Grassroots Education, for sponsoring the series. And I'll see you both. Well, I'll see other people in another 2 weeks for another badass engineers. Thank you. Bye,
Bye,
Masalama.
everyone.
Bye.